How's it going, everybody? Glad to have you back here, and I thank you for stopping in and watching the video today. I just wanted to show you how I go about making some of my potting soil. I tend to favor the sunshine mix, this bag right here, because it's got mycorrhiza in it, and it has a really good drainage application, which I really enjoy here. But I like to also make potting soil with a few different ingredients, and I've got a few here. My ingredients will change from time to time. I don't have set ingredients I use, but I like to try to incorporate as many ingredients as possible. Sometimes I'll even throw spent coffee grounds and things like that into it. But I really wanted to incorporate some biochar, which I have in the sandbag. And I've got some of my sunshine mix, but I'm running low, and so I think Home Depot is the only place that sells this. I don't see it at Lowe's. Maybe that's different where you're at, but it's like 30 bucks a bag, so it's not cheap. It's, it's quite expensive, but it's just got really good drainage. It doesn't become hydrophobic, which here in the desert is a major problem, and especially during the heat of the summer. And if you're not really diligent and you get hydrophobic soil, which essentially just means that the soil just turns rock hard inside of the pot, and when you go to water it, it just goes out the sides of the pot. It doesn't actually saturate into the soil itself, and so it just runs out the sides and down out of the drainage holes of the pot. And so it's a major issue. You have to really resaturate your water in like a like these big tubs or something like that. And so this Patio Plus, this Kellogg's, I'm not a huge fan of. It just doesn't have as much drainage, and it does go hydrophobic on me, and I've had that happen quite a few times. And so I don't use this Patio Plus straight. I always amend it. So if you are using the Kellogg's brand, which I like the amend as far as the garden soil is concerned, they do, and it's an organic material, it's an organic product, which I like. But I've had bad experiences with the Patio Plus, as well as their garden bed potting soil going hydrophobic. And so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to, but it's cheap. This is, it's like $7 or something for what is it, 1.5 cubic feet. Might be that, or two, I'm not sure. But I've got some of the mushroom compost that's just a couple bucks. I've got the Patio Plus, I've got my sunshine mix, and then I've got my sandbag full of biochar, activated biochar, liquid means. And so it's excellent, and it's going to provide excellent drainage as well as nutrients for the plant's roots to grow into. And so I want to mix all four of these products together and put them into this tub, and then put it right next to my plant station, so that when I'm potting up plants, I have a really good mix. I just want to crush this biochar into smaller pieces. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I've shown you how I drive over it, and now I'm going to show you how I do it with the sledgehammer. And then I'll show you how I go about mixing all this together as the best potting mix possible. I'm sure you can find better ingredients, but I've got some pretty good ingredients here. All of these, are pretty good ingredients. I do have a whole bunch of aged compost over there. I might add a little bit of that compost as well, just to give it a nice little kick. And so I'm going to add all these together, and I'll show you the final product. But hang tight with me, and I'll show you how I go about crushing the biochar in a sandbag. Okay, well, I've got the sandbag in place here. The first thing you really want to do is do the drawstring. Just put a nice little twist to it, and then put the drawstring in so none of it's going to come out. And then what I like to do, I just like to get it as level as possible, so it's nice and uniform. Watch out, this. And then that way it doesn't have as much to crush. Watch out, buddy. Watch out, Zeus. Grabbing my sledgehammer. So I've got a nice axe sledgehammer combo here. And this is what I like to do. You just methodically work the entire bag. You just crush it down. And you see this bag is taking this pounding with no problem. Not ripping any holes into the sandbag. This is a little bit more labor intensive than driving over it, but for just one bag, You know, it would take me more time to go grab my truck and bring it back here, open my gate and all that than it would be just to do this. So it's actually, in this sense, just for one bag, a little easier. If I had multiple, Zeus, watch out, bud. If I had multiple bags, then I would certainly want to use my truck. Okay, so I pounded that side and it's nice and crushed. Now what I want to do is just flip it over and do the other side. I can already tell it's nicely crushed in there. I'm just gonna make doubly sure I got pretty much everything. All right. Now let's open her up here and see what we've got. Oh yeah, very nice. Just a really nice crumbly char, biochar. So that did a really phenomenal job. And it's really easy. You just, you know, do like I said, and it just takes a couple passovers to get it broken down. So a benefit of using sandbags, very durable material. Would have no problem taking the poundings from the sledgehammer, and you'd have no problem driving over these as well. So hang tight with me, and I'll go ahead and get you set up here, and I'll show you how I go about incorporating all these materials into some good potting soil. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with the first ingredient. I'm just going to kind of layer these soils on top of one another, and then at the end I'll mix them up. But layering them will just help with the mixing. So I'm going to be using some of the tail logs here. Just want to show you this soil. It's just really woody. There's not really a whole lot of aeration or drainage in it, and so it's just, you know, it's, in my opinion, it could have probably composted a little bit longer. It's got a lot of woody material, which isn't going to take away from the nitrogen, but it's not superb. It's not, you know, 100% in my opinion. So okay, I want to add just a little bit of the mushroom compost. I like using this stuff. It's cheap. I wouldn't buy the steer manure. The chicken manure is okay, but this stuff is really fungal dominated, and so it's really good stuff to just use as an amendment. It's a lot finer material, which will complement the more woody and porous material of the other stuff. So you got a little bit of my sunshine, which I absolutely love. I'll show you some of the sunshine just as a comparison here. And you can see it's just a really fine material, excellent drainage, excellent seed start, just a really good all-around potting soil. You pay for what you get. Okay, want to add some biochar. Add a little bit more of the Kellogg's. A little bit more of the mushroom. More biochar. Let's see about getting stirred. Should have had my shovel handy. Actually, what I can do, what may be a little easier, I got another tub here. You can see that one. Oh, looks like the sun has gotten to some of my tubs here. Might just end up using the green one anyways. seeing the biochar throughout, which is good. Definitely see that sunshine mix throughout. This is looking pretty good. Probably mix it through a couple more times just to be sure. Okay, that is pretty good. Just going to go ahead and add the rest of my biochar. That is my secret ingredient. If you're not making biochar, you need to. It is by far one of the most important things you can do in the garden. And once you have it, it never goes away. And it's just a constant source of fertility. And it's very undervalued. It's not nearly as discussed as it should be. Just gonna add some more mushroom compost. Give it a nice little stir up here at the end. All right, I am happy with this mixture. This is a phenomenal mix here. With the perlite in there, as well as the biochar, it's gonna drain awesome. And it's going to have a ton of fertility, and there is no way that this is going to go hydrophobic, and it's just going to invite all the worms to come in and take root. So I'll be getting plenty of worm castings. And so this is by far, you know, just buying a few different ingredients and mixing them together, this is going to be by far a more superior potting soil than just using one standard bag. So it takes just a little bit of effort to mix it all together, but in the long run it's going to be well worth it. I'll bring in here for a closer view. Okay, here is my secret weapon for potting mix. So as you can see, this is a composition of all four of those products put together, with the secret weapon being the biochar, which you see just throughout the entire mixture. And I like to do this especially in the spring and summer months when I know I'm going to be doing a lot of planting and potting. I'll make mixtures like this. I do this is a potting mix, but I also do this for the in-ground plantings as well. I like the Kellogg's Amend, and I'll combine that with my own compost that I make here, and then also compost out of the chicken run. And then obviously I'll also add some biochar, and I'll go down to Starbucks and get a whole bunch of their spent coffee grounds. I add that, and as many ingredients as possible. The more you put into it, you know, the more fertility there's going to be, and the better product it is going to be in the end. Look at that. Look at that charcoal biochar with all the various components. It's got the mushroom compost. It's got some of the woody material from the Kellogg's that will hold on to the moisture. So that's good as a component, but you don't want just that because if it dries out and becomes hydrophobic, it does not want to become saturated again without some TLC. So adding in the good sunshine with all the perlite and the biochar, the chunks, that'll help break up a lot of that soil to where it'll have a hard time going hydrophobic on you. And that's, at least here in the desert, a major problem. So, but this is my mix here, or just one of them. This is how I go about it to make a phenomenal mix for plants. And so if you get some time, play around, see what works best for you. And I highly recommend doing this type of a mixture rather than just relying solely on any one bagged mix, because they're all different. And if you buy a good bag like that Sunshine, and then you buy some of the lower quality stuff, you can mix them together and then add some biochar and coffee grounds and some of the really cheap, you know, compost or some of your own compost, and you can really make it go a lot further for less money. And so that's the name of the game ultimately, is you know, going as far as possible for as little amount of money as possible. And like I always say, gardening doesn't have to be expensive, and if you know how to do it right, it can pay you. So I appreciate you watching this video today. I hope that you got something out of it. I hope it was informing, and I hope you have a great day today. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.